All right, everybody, we decided to start the stream a little bit early here just to make sure everything was situated. So enjoy this little track, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, and this is going to be a weekly thing, and we'll be talking about whatever you want. So we will be putting your chats on the screen, so let us know if there's anything you'd like to add or perhaps subtract from our coverage. So let's get to it. It's the first edition of our weekly stream. We'll be doing this each Wednesday around this same time of day. 2 to 3:30 or so. And it's your opportunity to contribute things, again, add or subtract things to the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news. These will be YouTube live stream exclusives, although we may download and re-upload these to other locations at different times, depending on what gets covered. So, and we're coming at you today from the Nexus of the Universe. Well, the Nexus of the Galaxy here. By the Galactic Core. Just, yeah. And, but we don't want to show that for too long. It'll cause extreme radiation. And we don't want you to be too irradiated. So, the purpose of these streams is to get y'all viewers to again add or subtract things to our coverage. So you are hereby invited to talk about whatever you want in the comments section. We won't censor you. If you type something that mysteriously vanishes from the comments, I can assure you that neither we nor the moderators censored you. So, and again, we will show the comments on the screen, especially once we see some. So if you're watching, please leave one. And there is the comments screen. As promised. And what we're showing here is smashamash.org presents the Sun Part 16, just as some background graphics. So we're going to switch to a moment, in a moment, to a moment of a different time. A time when I tweeted. Now, that's not to say that I've quit tweeting. I just don't spend a whole lot of time on Twitter, although I do occasionally use it to write material for the episode. So this is a reason to follow us on places like Twitter and Instagram, as we do indeed pre-release some stuff, some aspects of some stuff on those quote, platforms, end quote. I mean, if you want to call it a platform, I don't know. Not sure if you want to call it a platform or what you want to call it, but in any case. So, yeah, let's talk about some stuff that folks have been tweeting about. Firstly, with the poll regarding Vladimir Putin versus Joe Rogan. No, not who would win in a street fight. Ha 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 ha. That's just ridiculous. As many of us do not believe in things like fair fights Really, there is no such thing. And I won't talk about how any fight not to the death is fake, but in any case, our Twitter followers, we got a whopping 11 votes on this one. But it came down to one vote here. As you can see, the vote count, the vote percentage was 54.5% to 45.5%. That Vladimir Putin is more important than Joe Rogan. So, and again, if you'd like to, bring this up in the comments here, feel free. We're more than interested in who you think is more important, Vladimir Putin or Joe Rogan. And I guess I must answer this now. So I would have picked Joe Rogan. So certainly from the perspective of things like pop culture, fads, stuff like this, Joe Rogan's certainly more important, as he's more likely to, cause your video or a brand or whatever to go viral. Whereas Vladimir Putin is very unlikely, because he gets sort of a bum rap from the U.S. media in a lot of ways, because there are various corporate interests aligned against. And anyway, I just, the point is, Vladimir Putin isn't doing very much to you. Yes, you may think that he personally hacked the whatever pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline. No, not the Keystone Pipeline. The XL pipeline, whatever it's called, the one that caused the gas shortages. And I'm not going to go there. But in any case, yeah, let us know. Let us know here at the Smash News Network. We're interested in if you'd like to blame China and or Russia for practically everything that goes wrong. Now, one of the things that we can cite regularly that can go wrong is stuff like solar activity. But in any case, let's just move on here. No more about Joe Rogan or Vladimir Putin. And the reason that I put up this poll is because I figured that most people that are going to be reading the poll are going to be Americans. Although we have viewers from all around the world on various continents, Americans are going to be the most likely ones to be, answering the poll. And for the next section, I would like to bring up a great video here. A great video. Just, it reminds me of Big Tech's murder of the Golden Goose. So there was once a series of giant oligarchs, and those giant oligarchs had their sights really, really set on a high location. And they had this great golden goose, right? And this golden goose laid the egg of data right in their lap, day after day. And what did they do? Did they act as a steward of that data and attempt to, preserve its sovereignty? Or did they indeed squander the place that they had earned? Their place in securing your data, their place in, quote, securing your data. Anyway, this just totally reminds me of Big Tech here, because if you notice, sometimes things just seem to backfire. By the way, if you didn't check out today's cosmology segment, it was very non-widely viewed. It talked about the, quote, star forming and, quote, regions in these galaxies, as we've got these bright spots that are, those areas are high in molecular content. Anyway, we don't want to talk about that too much. We want to mainly stick here at the Smash News Network, least busted name of news, with whatever is on the Twitter feed. So what have you been tweeting about? Have you been banned from Twitter? Will you be laughed at? Do you think that Big Tech should be held criminally and civilly responsible for all of the liability that they've created? Some of us do, Anyway, it's Year of Accountability 2021. Some of you may have noticed that things were getting awfully clear last year. 2020, the year of clarity. So here's another tweet. This one is from yesterday. About, criminal, civil liability on big tech's doorstep. Anyway, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Will the fraud, electioneering, censorship, and monopolization of their markets continue? Or will something happen to prove certain big tech entities responsible? And thanks for leaving a comment. All the Sun, one of our regular daily space weather viewers. By the way, Rand Paul's been getting daily death threats for questioning Fauci. And by the way, we've been doing great meteorology segments. Oh, here's a quote too. Here's another quote from the Twitter. This one is about Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary. Because I must say, hiring Janet Yellen as press secretary is equivalent to hiring Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as the director of national security. So the Federal Reserve, the creator of inflation, the mystical wizard who writes checks with nothing in their account, known as the Federal Reserve, used to employ Ms. Yellen. She was the Fed chair. And now she's the Treasury Secretary. It's yeah. By the way, we've got a sale on all of our products on the Redbubble shop. So if you check below the video in the description, you'll see a link to a Redbubble shop. And what we've done is we've cut into our own profits. And we've decided to give everybody a break in the price of everything at the shops. So if you head to the homepage, smashamash.com, you'll find a link to this shop. It's smAsho merch, right? So here's the homepage. smashamash.com. smashamash.org will redirect you. If you click on smAsho merch, you'll find this shop. There are currently 7 designs in there. There's the Vaccinate This product, the Dimension of the Year, Hell, Google Defined, and there are multiple products in each of these there are multiple products, each with these designs on them. They're all specifically designed for what the product is. There's a Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera, Fauci Committed Fraud, the Smash of Hazard, and our basic, it's just our business card, so that we could get all kinds of crazy promotional material printed with our business card. So in any case, we've taken a cut on our percentage of all of the products in the shop. We've reduced our cut by 5% to pass that on to you, the viewer. So the quality of these is ridiculous also, by the way. If you look at the detail of these, it's quite exquisite, I assure you. Anyway, back to the Twitter feed, as I think there may be other things in there that we haven't talked about yet on the YouTube live streams, etc. So let's get back to that. Again, let us know what you've been tweeting about, or if you've been banned from Twitter, perhaps you'll still be able to leave a comment on YouTube. We hope it's lull worthy. We hope all comments are lull worthy. All right, so we've got a bunch of comments here. Let's put those on the screen after I get a better background than my Twitter page. And just give me a moment, folks. All right. We'll get more imagery of the closest star. Here at the Smash News Network, we spend some time on things like cosmology. So here are your chats. Again, thanks for leaving comments. And if you're viewing in syndication, leave a comment as well. The conversations on our channel go on for an extended period of time. And I have to wonder, are you safe yet? By the way, this particular portion of the video is several months of cycle 25, starting right at the beginning. If you haven't seen this one yet, check it out. You can find all the playlists at youtube.com/smashamash/playlists. youtube.com/smashamash/playlists. And that's 171 angstroms from the Soho. So great ionized iron imagery here. Right from the very end, right from the very beginning of solar cycle 25. I think it goes on for about 5 months here. And it was a pretty low time of solar activity. However, apparently not quite as low as the last solar minimum. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but it's just a fact. So, all right. And again, what is everybody tweeting about these days? Let us know in the comments. We are interested in your social media accounts. Let us know what social media accounts you like to use, as our activity in social media goes up and down. Let's head to some news sources, perhaps trusted, perhaps mistrusted and or distrusted. Let's start out with one that's utterly biased and corporate, cbsnews.com. So I'm going to show you what I see when I look at the homepage and get off the screen, as I don't want to be on the screen at the same time as these vipers. So, all right. So here's what we see on CBS News' homepage. Whatever you want to do, don't do it. New DHS report highlights crisis at Mexican border. So what are they doing here? Are they trying to throw Kamala Harris under the bus? What is the deal? Does Kamala not back up their corporate interests sufficiently? I remember several months ago we did a live stream and went to CBS, and we got a full screen advertisement for a pharmaceutical company. So CBS News can't stand them. And if you want to be enraged, I dare you, I defy you to watch an episode of 2020 in 2021. It would have been horrifying enough if you were watching 2020 in 2020. But go ahead. Try to watch an episode of 2020. Wait a minute. Is that ABC? I think 2020 is CBS, right? In any case, CBS is the original biased news source. Remember when Walter Cronkite intentionally stretched the news during the Vietnam era? All right, I won't go on with that. It's just another fact. Let's see what their top story is. DHS report highlights crisis.
All your great reporting on this crucial issue. Thank you.
Okay. That was obnoxious. All right, anyway, let's look at their latest news top headline. Biden sets off to Europe on first foreign trip as president. Please don't break a hip. That is not what I need to see in the news. Dear Mr. President, sir, whatever pronoun you prefer today, I'm sherbet gender. Please don't break a hip. And by the way, leave us a comment if you're sherbet gender. I don't know. Maybe I have to make another video about sherbet gender. Good luck and best Godspeed to you, President Biden. All right, so Biden's going to Europe. Apparently that's big news. All right, let's get off of this page of refuse and nonsense, and let's check out the Washington Post. I can't say Washington Post without saying compost, but let's see what happens. It's funny how their subtitle is democracy dies in darkness. Seems like bamboozlery and buffoonery, but let's see what their top headline is. And it's about COVID. Can't let it die no matter how long the virus is slated to live. And I don't know if you've noticed, but check out the way, if you look at this, check out the way it says, you see those red letters right there? Gucci, 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 Gucci. What does that say, folks? Does that say, made in China? China. All right, so let's click their biggest headline here. China, the China virus. Okay. The virus from China. China. Spelled C-H-I-D-A. China. Yeah, we brought back the COVID. I never got rid of the COVID because I noticed nobody ever got rid of the COVID. There's still COVIDiots walking around with masks on right now. People talking about vaccine passports and show me your papers, show me your genitals, show me your mother's blood type, show me your grandparents' shoe size, show me IQ tests. Show me IQ tests. Hey, how come we don't have that? We should walk around with our IQ test results, right? Anyway, the Biden administration to buy 500 million doses to donate to the world. Cheers. Everybody, enjoy your Pfizer doses. Ah, yes. And for all of you who think the planet is overpopulated, you've believed nonsense for a long time. And back in the 90s, I believed nonsense too, so don't feel too badly about it. So let's see what else is going on in the Washington Post. Oh my God, as home prices soar in unlikely places, the most vulnerable residents pay the price. Because everybody sells their gear because it's worth way too much money. All right, and let's check another news source here. But first, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, COVID. COVID. Bye. Wasn't scared in January of 2020. Wasn't scared last week. Masks didn't work in January of 2020. Masks didn't work last week. Do you notice some congruences, folks? Do you see some things coming together? Do you notice how certain people are right nearly all of the time? Yeah, it's a thing. All right, let's look at maybe a little bit more reasonable news source. I know it's been gaining popularity lately. Let's see what's being said over at another consultant of the Smash News Network, least busted name in news unofficially speaking, of course, Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge, it looks like it's talking about some actual relevant issues here. Gold and silver could return as money through the most reliable gold-backed tokens. Oh boy, gold-backed tokens. All right, so we had a lot of comments on a video today. Our meteorology segment featured a ton of comments. And we've got Kamala's face on the screen. Let's get that off of there because I don't want to appear on the same screen. I don't want my likeness to appear next to somebody as crucial to democracy as Kamala. So, yeah. So anyway, what was I talking about? And thanks for leaving comments, everybody. Once again, let me put the comments back on the screen to get everybody up to speed. I don't know why I have this big leader at the top. There's nothing there. Oh, there is something there. It loaded. Cheers. Again, and you're welcome for all the hard work. Let me just take that moment to explain where the Daily Space Weather videos came, where the DSW videos came from, right? You may be wondering how that became a thing. Well, it became a thing because, one, I realized that the sun was the skeleton in the astronomy closet, that it wasn't well understood by anybody in sort of academia, and that it was the basis for all the rest of cosmology. And so knowing this, I needed to know what I was talking about before doing a deep dive into solar data on the daily basis and trying to see the way it correlates with other stuff. So that's sort of where the videos came from. And there was certain data that I wanted to see on a giant screen, and there was certain stuff that I wanted compiled so I could view it in a certain order. That's why I always say that I'm not only smAsho, but I'm also a client, because I do view the videos, not just for editing purposes. So anyway, I just figured I would briefly go over that because some of you may not understand where the videos came from. And also I noticed that nobody was occupying the niche. So nobody was really behaving like a solar weatherman. So it was just a natural move. And of course, there are channels that do some parts but not others. And there are some channels that go well out on a limb that's made of ashes. And there are some channels that know what they're talking about and some channels that have no clue what they're talking about, and every possible combination of that stuff. But I wanted to look at certain variables on a regular basis, starting at solar minimum, because of the way those variables tie together. So anyway, let's go back to Zero Hedge here. I'm just going to let their homepage scroll. Whether Kamala's face is on the screen or not, I just don't care. And I don't care if she goes to the border or not either. I am excited that she said, don't illegally attempt to illegally immigrate to the U.S. At least she gave that good advice, so cheers. Good on Kamala for not attempting to import voters. Please don't recruit voters from other countries to illegally immigrate to the U.S. Cheers. And don't sleep your way to a Senate position. So, Fauci pal Daszak admits Chinese colleagues developing killer coronaviruses. I don't really care about that. I've been calling Fauci a fraud since December, and everybody keeps listening to Fauci and featuring him on the news every 5 minutes, which is, of course, why we made the Fauci fraud products. Oh, and that brings me to another point. If you measured inflation the way it was measured in the 1980s, we would be at an inflation rate of about 15%. But according to the Consumer Price Index, the U.S. is at an inflation rate of just over 4%. So now, since the Fed claims that a 2% inflation rate is better than a 0% inflation rate, we think that the Fed is trying to bring down inflation now. So just consider the possibility that the Fed is hinting about the idea of raising interest rates when the government is over-leveraged in borrowing to the point where the government would almost have to immediately stop spending. Anyway, the Consumer Price Index now no longer includes food and gas. Let that sink in. Food and gas have been removed from the Consumer Price Index because they're too volatile. Does that make you feel volatile? All right. So let's just take a moment to reflect on that. The changes to the Consumer Price Index since the 1980s include removal of food and gasoline. Cheers. Now, our patrons may have already known about this, as we shared a URL with them, and we'll make a video about this at a later time. But yeah, so there's that. And let me just go back to the chat once again here to display the chat on screen. And thanks again, everybody, for leaving comments. Holy crap, what did I do? There we go. So again, cheers. Thanks, everybody, for leaving comments. So yeah, the sale on the gear on the Redbubble shop, that will last all through June. So something like midnight on July 1st, the sale will expire. And we'll return back to higher levels of profit margin. So it's, and again, the designs are super high quality. I mean, these these socks, those socks, they might be made in China, but you could just bet your bottom dollar that the quality quality is pretty high. So just to give you an example, I got the Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera socks, and here I'll actually show those to you. So if you head to the home page, right, you head to smAshomash.com. You click on smAsho merch. It'll take you to this shop. If you click on show all products for Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera, a public service message, do not pole vault the Caldera from smAshomash.com. You can see there's a whole bunch of different like shirts and sweatshirts and so on. The resolution of these prints is pretty ridiculous. And the socks represent the limit of how small we could make something. So just to give you fair warning, if you order the socks, you're not going to be able to read the URL. The URL for the website is too small. You cannot read youtube.com/smashomash or smashomash.com. But still, the design is still there. You can still see Steve Stimpak's silhouette pole vaulting that Caldera, that there Caldera. And you can save a few bucks. You can save a few bucks if you buy the socks in bulk. That's why it's from $12.30. I think if you buy 3 sets, if you get 3 pairs, they knock you down to $12. But yeah, the print quality is quite high. And of course, you can go spreading the wisdom that you gain in our channel, where we tell COVIDiots to not pole vault the Caldera. I think it's crucial. I think it's crucial. It's crucial to try to help the COVIDiots, no matter how much they resist help. Just smile and nod and carry on. And whether or not you should wear a mask, I have no opinion. I have no opinion. I have no opinion if you should get vaccinated. I don't care if you have antibodies. Nope. Not going there. All right, so let's see what else is going on in the news now that I've ranted about products. And believe me, folks, I don't own all the products, but I'm getting there. Let's get back to Zero Hedge now that I've ranted about inflation. Here at the Smash News Network, I am actually encouraged to rant about inflation. Cheers. All right, so inflation ripping your face off. All right. Les Wexner has sold $500 million in stock this year. Okay. Not familiar with him. SEC launches review of high-frequency traders' market abuses. Ah, yes. But no investigation into the inner workings of Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, and Amazon. That's what I find interesting. They're worried about you ripping off the government, but they're not worried about institutions, giant multinational corporations, ripping off their investors. A prime example of government incompetence, Here we go. Oh, noes. The high-frequency traders' market abuses. It's finally considering changing the rules of how stocks are priced and traded to stop exchanges from incentivizing brokers, particularly retail trading brokerages that have seen an explosion in activity in the past couple of years. Ah, yes. We can't handle the market, so the government has to prop up our market dealings. We can't do our own jobs. Anyway, yes, there are issues with computerized trading, folks, because, of course, he who has the most sophisticated algorithms can outtrade you because they can take advantage of tiny market fluctuations, and I'm not going to get into it, but thanks to everybody that viewed our meteorology segment this morning, because there were all kinds of comments about crypto, and we greatly appreciate that, regardless of whether I consider crypto to be like a holder of value, I'll say. It certainly holds value in the way that a stock holds value. A really volatile stock, for example, like a tech stock of the mid-90s, certainly it has value in it's worth a certain number of dollars, and it's very volatile, and it's nothing like currency, and it's nothing like money. It has no intrinsic value. It's the idea that the blockchain adds value is complete nonsense. The blockchain subtracts value because the blockchain is a liability, not because of its carbon footprint, because of the computing and electricity and other features required to have a blockchain. It's a pain to have a blockchain. It makes any sort of a transaction relatively lengthy and painstaking. So, yeah, as a speculative investment, you can certainly get rich off of crypto, and I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't. I've been, suggesting people purchase some stellar lumens here for quite a while. I think last I checked, they're back at like 35 cents per stellar lumen. But in any case, the value of anything is how much somebody's willing to pay for it, right? If you have collector's items and nobody's willing to buy them currently, that means that they're currently worthless. That doesn't mean you should burn your baseball cards and cook hot dogs over them. But there are certain times when certain things are more valuable than others. And when the dollar's going down in value, that extends the cost in dollars of everything. So it's a bad time to hold dollars, and the higher the inflation gets, the worse it is to have anything invested in dollars. Did Obama really admit that cancel culture went too far? That's incredible. Let's reflect on that. I'm going to chug a non-alcoholic beer while I think about if Obama really said cancel culture has gone too far. Maybe Obama wants to see Trump back on Twitter. And I'm going to chug in front of this giant Obama billboard here. Yes. It's perfect for a non-alcoholic beer, yes. It's a buckler. And I'm going to try not to catch a headache while doing this. All right. Obama thinks cancel culture went a lot of the dangers of cancel culture, and we're just going to be condemning people all the time, at least among my daughters. They'll acknowledge that among their peer group or in college campuses, you'll see people going overboard. Ah, okay. We don't expect everybody to be politically correct all the time, he added. Jeez.
A lot of the dangers of cancel culture and, we're just going to be condemning people all the time. At least among my daughters, that they'll acknowledge that sometimes among
I guess he's going to literally say exactly what was quoted. I won't continue to play the clip as I don't want to get a copyright strike on YouTube. Anyway, the article's linked on Zero Hedge. Obama admits cancel culture went too far. And I know there's been lots of complaints about
their peer group or in college.
About a lot of politicians who would prefer to see more censorship by big tech. What do you think about the level of censorship from big tech? Do you think big tech should censor more, less, not at all, and it shouldn't even be a conversation? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you think big tech should censor people more, we're going to berate you publicly, possibly take screenshots, and even make fun of you on Instagram. So by all means, maybe we'll blot out your name if, depending on how idiotic of a comment you put, as we do go out of our way to protect the stupid. Because remember, folks, there are no stupid questions, but there are certainly stupid people. All right, so let's get your chats back on the screen here in just a minute. I'm going to find another article to check out here on Zero Hedge. Surge in demand sparks stellar 10-year Treasury auction. Oh, a new CPI comes out tomorrow. So I was just talking about the CPI, and we're going to see a new calculation of the Consumer Price Index. I wonder which things will be mysteriously removed from it. Perhaps rent. Credit Suisse abandons plan to bond traders' new fund as he turned down Citadel. I don't care about that. Excessive liquidity and extreme complacency. Lots of cash chasing not a lot of items, aka inflation at its finest. And when do you think the stock bubble is going to burst? It seems like it's going to be related to crypto at this point, as even a thing as small as Stellar Lumens still has like $8 billion invested in it. I know that's not very many billions in nowadays money, when if it's not a quadrillion, you don't have time for it. But when is the stock market bubble going to burst? In fact, I want to go take a look at that myself. Let's go take a look at the markets here on CNBC. I want to see some major macro charts here. Let's check it out. So here we are at cnbc.com/markets. And first of all, let's check out the NASDAQ. Give me a chart. I see a one-year chart of the NASDAQ. A giant bubble. A giant bubble. How much of that is Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, and Amazon? And to a lesser extent, Microsloth. I mean, look at that. That is a giant bubble. Look at the 5-year chart. Bubble much? Anyway, whatever. I'm not telling you to sell stocks. All I'm saying is this simple advice, which I won't get sued over, because you can't possibly have beef with my telling you to buy low and sell high. That's my investment advice. Buy low and sell high. Is it sinking in? All right, good. All right, so let me put your chats back on the screen here. I haven't read them myself, so let me roll that out, and I'll scroll down your chats. Again, thanks everybody for leaving comments. This is going to be a normal thing now. So the 2 o'clock Eastern time live stream, YouTube exclusive, is going to be a normal thing now. Cheddar. Have you learned how to say cheddar? Cheddar. Let's do... Oh, wait. There we go. Cheddar. Cheddar. So it's CHIDA. So just imagine yourself with a giant rotating COVID right above your head. hanging above your head like the sword of Damocles. Right? Just imagine that. And then imagine that you're Trump with a sinus infection. Ched. It's pronounced ched. Ched. You could hold your nose. Ched. 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 It's really a cheap plastic virus, folks. Anyway, back to the chats. If you haven't learned to say ched, go teach your friends and foes how to say ched. I mean, I think there's a lot of it's culture, okay? It's culture. When in Russia, blame Ched, and when in Ched, blame Russia. That's the way you do it. You gotta have your axis of whatever. Your axis of evil. What evil lurks in the heart of coronal halls? Nothing to see there, folks. Just condensed matter. All right, so Pull My Finger says the socks are made in Taiwan. I'm not sure. Lex Wesner is an Epstein pal. Yes, it said that in the headlines. I did notice that. It sounds like a character from Austin Powers. Exactly. Lex Wesner. We went to the Alpine Resort in search for Lex Wesner. We heard that he'd checked into the penthouse, but it had only been occupied by a man with the name of Mike Ock. So we checked the penthouse, and we found Mr. Wexner's wife. Yes, Mrs. Wesner. She invited us to take a jacuzzi, but we knew that Mr. Wexner must be lurking in the shadows. All right, I'm just making this up as I go, folks. Let's get back to your chats here. Yes, I was drinking NA beer, but look what I've done now. I've upgraded to the Canadian delicacy of Moosehead, a beer that contains alcohol. I've not gone alcohol-free, folks. All right. Pull My Finger says, I wonder about you sometimes, bro. Lol. All right. So let's get back to markets here. I want to just take a look at some other technicals. Let's look at the Dow Jones. A bunch of boring value stocks, which are probably overvalued. And there's the one-year bubble-like chart that's practically the same chart as the NASDAQ of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's frankly kind of boring. And these stocks are totally overvalued because of 0% interest rates by the Fed, where giant companies take loans and they pay their people in stock instead of, and of course, just directly invest in their own stock rather than pay people, period. How about that? Just automate your junkware and don't even have anybody working. Just have a complete zombie company, Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, and Amazon, with nobody at the wheel. And make sure that all the top executives spend all their time electioneering and all the people who don't know how to code debugging your software. That's a great way to run your servers, and that's exactly how your servers are being run. We congratulate you. You're not fooling anybody who's ever known how to code Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, and Amazon. Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, and Amazon. I can say it faster and faster the more I think about it, as their code works slower and slower with every update of your browser. All right, continuing on. I want to know what the price of gold is. Let's take a look at, holy cripes, oil just under $70 a barrel here. Do you remember when it was negative $40 a barrel just last year? Remember that? When it was negative $40 a barrel. Yeah. It's the barrel. The oil, you had to give somebody $40 to take the oil off your hands like it was a liability. You know why that happened, folks? Because Saudi Arabia decided to do the opposite of what the U.S. requested that it do. The U.S. said, hey, could you make a little less oil? That would be great. And they said, we will make more oil instead to destroy the fracking. And that's essentially what they did. But they collapsed their own market because it's an idiotic thing to do. Anyway, enough of that. I won't continue ranting about finance. Don't even get me started because I know way too much about it. Damn, silver's only $28 an ounce. It seems cheap. Gold has been down to, are you kidding me? Yowzers. So gold clearly has a support level right at $1,700 an ounce. I mean, you can clearly see that. Here's the 5-year chart. Anyway, that's gold. I want to show silver also. Moreover, I want to see silver exactly at $28 an ounce right now as we stream. And it's a less overvalued chart than gold once again. Quite extraordinary, actually. And we did cover this on the daily when it was less than $12 per ounce. At least one of our viewers at least doubled her cash. And again, that's my investment advice for you folks. One thing, buy low and sell high. I wanted to also show one other thing real quick. So first of all, Bitcoin, of course. Ooh, a value added $36,000 per Bitcoin. It actually is looking pretty beat up there. All the way down to its levels from January. Bitcoin looking beat up. A lot of people calling Ethereum. Here's Ethereum as reported by Coinbase. That's where I trade. And I barely trade, by the way. I consider crypto to be a speculative investment, not a currency or a holder of value. Ether similarly beaten up. And actually more valued since it was much lower with respect to Bitcoin. And let's also look at stellar lumens. Which is the number 3, actually. It's the number 3 on Coinbase. Valued at about $8 billion. Where the heck is it? XLM. There we go. There's one quote. This is from Coinmetrics. There you go. 35 cents per stellar lumen. 35 cents per stellar lumen. All right. Anyway. Let's get back to news stories. I'm going to head to another mainstream news source. How about CNN? What do you say, folks? I know our viewers are huge fans of CNN. Let's just head to their homepage, because here at SNN, the Smash News Network, least busted name in news, we like to offer a contrast to crap. I mean, journalism that's not quite what you'd call up to snuff. And one of their links right on the homepage is Lego typewriter. So that looks really interesting. Since Lego's in all caps, let's click on that. That sounds like important news, doesn't it? From the Central News Network, Lego gets nostalgic with 2,000-piece classic typewriter, complete with moving keys and carriage. Yay! Thank you, CNN. That's so good. Oh my God, I can build a Lego typewriter. So awesome. That is so worthy of being on your homepage. Ooh. If only I was enough of a man-child that I could wish to build a working typewriter. perfectly represented in baby puke green. It costs only $200 for that adult child living in your basement, looking like a complete COVIDiot, perhaps wearing a mask while he builds the idiotic Lego typewriter. Please leave a comment if you'd like to cut your wrists more than build a Lego typewriter. Anyway, if you'd like to read more about a Lego typewriter, just head to CNN.com. Trusted, your most busted source in news, or whatever they call themselves. All right, so let's check the biggest headline here at CNN's homepage. And I'm going to... DOJ pursued CNN reporters' emails in secret court battle. Which, of course, was the Trump administration pursued the CNN reporters'
Let's bring in
records.
the lawyer at the center of all of this.
Oh my God, your website is obnoxious. I like the way the videos just play by themselves. CNN, I salute you and your corporatism. All right, so the Trump administration battled with CNN for half a year to obtain the email records of a reporter and insisted it all take place under an extraordinary order of secrecy. In other words, they said, give me your emails and don't tell your mommy or your daddy about it. The pursuit, which started in July 2020 under then Attorney General William Barr, who did absolutely nothing to benefit the American people. He just sat around with a set of jowls worthy of the Civil War and did absolutely nothing useful. One of the many useless members of the Trump administration, Attorney General William Barr. For a while, I thought he was legit, and then I realized he is a complete douchebag. In any case, the DOJ demanded for 2 months that the CNN Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr's 2017 email logs continued even after a federal judge told the Justice Department its argument for access to Starr's internal emails was, quote, speculative and, quote, unanchored in any facts, end quote. Anyway, I don't really care, but I think that that's cute. I love the fact that CNN still suffers from Trump derangement syndrome. Leave us a comment if people you know in RL still suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, look, the Bidens, they're waving while not wearing masks. That's the image I want. Oh my God, look at everybody. You're safe now thanks to Joe and Mrs. Biden. They've made you so safe because they made you go 100 days with masks on, you know those things, those masks. Remember those? They weren't effective during the Justinian or Black Plagues. They weren't effective in the Spanish flu. They weren't effective in 2014. They weren't effective in 2020, and they weren't effective in 2021. And they're still hanging on these bureaucrats' faces. How perfect of an allegory is that? And let's get the hell off of CNN.com. It's a disaster. Let's check ABC.com, right? abcnews.go.com. Oh my God, they've got Trump on their homepage. Are you ready? Are you going to brace yourself, folks? Sit down. Sit down. It's Trump surrounded by police. I think it could be some kind of a Nazi rally. Oh my God. I'm going to show it anyway. We're hoping the video doesn't get banned for this edgy coverage here from ABC News. Police did not clear Lafayette Park so Trump could hold, quote, Bible and, quote, photo op, says Watchdog. Wow, that sounds really important, doesn't it? Please leave us a comment if you're a groupie of Trump and you follow him around to political rallies while he's not even known to be running for office.
We're going to begin at the White House, where President Trump spoke out for the first time from the Rose Garden.
Please don't begin from the White House, George Stephanopoulos. You are a clear party hack. Shut your face. You're a Clinton staffer and you have no business working for a news agency. ABC News, always broadcasting crap. U.S. Park Police did not clear Lafayette Park and the nearby area of protesters on June 1st, so Trump could walk from the White House over to St. John's Church, but learned of his interest in surveying the site hours after they already begun planning to clear the area to put up new fencing, according to a Watchdog report. Why would anybody care? That is the lead headline at alwaysbsbycowards.go.news. abcnews.gotohell.com. Dudes, Trump isn't even president anymore. Why don't you pay attention to current news instead of whether or not police cleared Lafayette Park? Just putting it out there. You may want to, do your job. All right, let's check USA Today, and we're going to go to Newsweek, just so we can round out our hilarious news. All right, here we go. Oh, man, this is going to be a good one. Let's put your chats on the screen first before we continue on with this, as I see a number of chats coming in here. And thanks for leaving comments, by the way, viewers. All right, so here are your chats. Lex Wesner has just emailed us and told us to stop using his name, or we will pay and pay dearly. If I just accidentally placed you in timeout, I apologize. I didn't do it on purpose. I don't know how it happened. I clicked on something. I didn't mean to click on it, and oh, crap. If I deleted your message, I apologize. It was completely by accident. There's key press lag going on that you may not be able to see in the video. And I'm unable to scroll the same way Google is unable to code. All right, so I don't know why there are so many messages deleted. What's going on? Pull my finger. What the hell? All right, I didn't change any settings, so whatever. Whatever. The software, I'm telling you, folks. If you spend more time consuming content than creating it, consider yourself lucky. Because trying to navigate through this software is insane. It looks like all of Pull My Fingers comments have been deleted here, and I certainly did not do any such thing. Great. All right, continuing on. Again, welcome everybody. Thanks for leaving comments. Oh, you want to talk about Fauci? All right, let's talk about Fauci before I go back to USA Today. Actually, let's go to USA Today first, then Fauci, then Newsweek. Check it out. 178 healthcare workers suspended for refusing COVID-19 vaccination. So what's it going to be, folks? Are there going to be vaccine passports, or are there not going to be vaccine passports? I think it's a hilarious debate, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But we're interested in what you think about it. Let's talk about Fauci. Now, I called that Fauci was a fraud. A public official paid to lie to you. A public official paid to lie to you, paid more than any other U.S. government employee. Dr. Fraudster, Anthony Fauci, Saint Fauci, the saint of fraud, the saint of doing more damage to the U.S. economy and medical fabric and pretty much helping to evaporate the trust of Americans in public institutions. So a fantastic job that Fauci did with all of that stuff. Let's display the graphic. Fauci committed fraud. He's a fraud. Go tell somebody else. Maybe get a shirt with this. Here's a quote from Fauci the fraudster. When polls said that only about half of Americans would take a vaccine, I was saying herd immunity would take 70 to 75%. Then when newest survey said 60% or more would take it, I thought I could nudge this up a bit, so I went to 80, 85, eh? In other words, he lied to you. He lied to you not because of the medical efficacy of vaccines. He lied to you and hundreds of millions, and you could easily say billions of people around the world by lying about herd immunity requirements when it comes to vaccination. Based on a poll of people who don't know anything about the science, Fauci claims he does, he decided to up the vaccination requirement to achieve herd immunity by a full 10%. Let that sink in. I'm going to chug some Moosehead while you do. Anyway, we started saying it in December. Maybe you heard us. And if you're not pleased about this, perhaps you would like to get yourself, a Fauci bath mat. Would you like to put your feet on Fauci's face every time you step out of the shower? Well, it comes in 2 sizes. And again, we're taking a hit all through June on this. 34 by 21 bath mat there, featuring Fauci's face and his quotes on fraud, just so you don't forget. Yes, I know. It's going to affect the decor of your house, but don't you want to stand on Fauci's face and watch it wear out over time? I mean, what an epic bath mat. Anyway, Fauci committed fraud. He admitted it to the Washington Times. CNN called him out on it even. And Fauci was just like, what do you mean? No, I didn't commit fraud there. I was just changing the numbers because yada, 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 infectious diseases, yada, 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 technical jargon, yada, 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 yada. Americans can't understand this complicated vaccine science here. What a crock of beep. Anyway, go advertise that Fauci committed fraud. Did you notice that our channel was ahead of the curve when it came to that? Let's close things out with this one before we head to Newsweek magazine. This is the fact that this caused any controversy on Facebook is hilarious because there's nothing controversial being cited here. My vaccination status is none of your business. Because if you're not involved in the administration or the direct health care of me, then you have no legal right to any of my protected health information. I can voluntarily give it to you, and you can refuse to do business with me if I don't give it to you. That's called free markets. I'm all for that. But you don't get to decide that I have to provide any information. I might have leprosy and anal fissures. I'm not going to tell you about it unless I feel like it. HIPAA does not expire because of a scamdemic or a pandemic or a plandemic or a war or anything else. It just simply doesn't expire, period. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, it's still a thing. It's not going away. It's never going away. And despite living in a banana republic, your constitutional rights haven't technically gone away either. Again, pull my finger. I don't know what the hell's going on with your chats. We did not place you in timeout. All right, so Robert, when I'm going to race is classified. I can't divulge that information, especially because I don't yet know. Anyway, thanks everybody for leaving comments. Let's do one more news source here. I'm going to put up my test pattern at Smash News Network. And then I'm going to head to a newsweek.com, which is not any sort of a trusted news source. I'm just picking random American news sites. So here's this. It's the homepage of Newsweek. Trending people are Joe Biden and Donald Trump, also coronavirus, vaccine, and Gavin Newsom, who, like Andrew Cuomo and Tom Wolfe, are still in charge of their states, despite creating some of the worst places in the world in the year 2020, both in terms of economic casualties and physical deaths. So congratulations to people like Tom Wolfe and Rachel Levine and Andrew Cuomo for so many nursing home deaths of the elderly. Well done, as long as you were attempting to intentionally eradicate the elderly. All right, and the top headline on Newsweek appears to be Biden's energy policy. It will strengthen autocrats and Islamic terrorists, says Polish Prime Minister. All right, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to end this stream. It's about that time. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Again, we're going to do it each Wednesday at about 2 p.m. We're going to expect these to last between 1 and 1.5 hours. So look for these coming up in the future. We've created a special thumbnail. I mean, when you create a special thumbnail for something, folks, there's no avoiding it. There's no avoiding it. Special thumbnail. Look, oh, now I've frozen in time, and now I'm back. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment, even if you viewed in syndication. We'll see you next week, or perhaps in other content. Who knows when we'll upload something else. Also, don't forget to check out our playlists. Press like, press subscribe, share with your friends and foes. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho, signing off from Smash News Network. Least busted name and